Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us for this morning's Issues at Hand show. My name is Karen Wamani, and we are here once again to talk about some issues that are affecting us as a country, as a nation, politically, socially, security-wise, educational, and inspirational. Today, we're going to focus on security particularly. Now, remember that giving a weekly update to journalists on police affairs on Monday, the police spokesperson Fred Enanga asked the public to be very vigilant and careful about the things that happen around them on a daily basis. Now, this comes after the recent bomb threats and scares around the country, and with the arrest of one suspected suicide bomber called Chintu Ibrahim, of 28 years old, who had concealed the identity of a bomb in a food flask at the famed Miracle Center Church in Rubaga Cathedral on Sunday. Now, you can imagine that a bomb can be put in something like a food flask, and you will never know. Of course, this is a very big church with a lot of people, and it looks like the bomber was targeting the masses that go to pray in that church. And my question would be, why this time, and why this church in particular? But today we have a guest in studio. His name is Mr. Egesa, and we are going to be looking at some of these issues. He's going to be taking us through some of these issues from an expert's angle or point of view, and we are going to understand exactly what is happening and how exactly we should protect ourselves like the public, as the public. You're very welcome, Mr. Egesa, to this show this morning.
Good morning, Family TV. Good morning, viewers. I thank God that I'm here, and I thank God that he keeps us as he promised.
Yes.
Yes, because if you look at a situation that a church like Miracle Center Cathedral is attacked with that kind of mammoth gathering, with so many outlets, and still God points out, and I wouldn't even say it was an effort of security. Of course, to a certain extent, yes, there was that kind of alert, there was that alert bell, that bell of alert,
yes,
that one should be alert, yes. But at the same time, I'm telling you, how many people walk with flasks and they're not checked?
And they're not checked.
How many people walk with bags and they're not checked? So I thank God that he still loves Uganda so much, and that, personally, when I look at the way sometimes things are done in Uganda, as an expert, I just shudder and say, it is God who keeps us. Yes.
It is only God.
At the same time, I look at, when I look at Chintu, I look at a boy of 20 years. This is young, it's just hardly, this boy was, a child 2 years ago. Eventually, someone pulls him to come and create this kind of distraction. He's designed. He's kind of wired in a way that now he feels that he wants to take life. So I think we really have to pray for ourselves, but at the same time also, we have to be very vigilant.
Yes. We have to. Like Mr. Egesa has pointed out, it is only God that protects us, and of course protection comes from above, but also we have to be very, very vigilant and careful on the things that happen around us, especially if you see something very abnormal around you. Please be quick to report to police, to the nearest police stations near you, or any security guard or officers that could be around you. Now, on Monday, Enanga also said that as of that day, they had detonated over 6 improvised explosive devices, commonly known as bombs. You can imagine 6 bombs. We are wondering who could be after Uganda like this. What has Uganda done, or what have some people in Uganda done to deserve the terrorists coming in and saying, no, this is the time we need to bomb the country? Because 6 bombs is not a small thing. I remember that in 2010 we had the Chadondo bombings, and there were just 2 bombings, but they cost a lot of lives, and there were some injuries that were sustained from those days, and it is something that as a nation, Uganda, we cannot forget easily. And so I'm going to start by the question, Mr. Egesa, who would be after Uganda like this? Who would want to hurt the citizens of Uganda?
We have a problem of terrorism everywhere now. Like you have heard about the Sahel in West Africa.
Yes.
We also have the Al-Shabaabs. We also have the ADFs in Congo. Of course, Uganda, to a certain extent, has kind of dislodged, has kind of shaken the foundations of the ADFs in Congo. And in the process, of course, what happens when such a force is attacked, they kind of segment, they disintegrate, and then kind of build small cells for survival. And once these small cells have to they have to survive. And they have to also to be active for purposes of what we call accountability. Because if, for instance, they are being sent by Al-Shabaabs, and of course they are being funded by Al-Shabaabs, the Al-Shabaabs want to hear some kind of information. They want to hear some kind of activity. They want to hear that something has been done. So in the process, someone gets, I know these boys they are getting, these are the ragtag small boys here and there. But who are the designers? Who are these real people? Who are have we managed? Okay, we may be arresting so many people, which is so good, but at the same time, have we touched, has the government, has the security here touched the gist, the real person who we can term as a hardcore terrorist? Or we are dealing with the young small boys who are recruited here because of lack of jobs, because of lack of direction, because of maybe lack of being brought up well. So these are questions we have to put across, and possibly we should look for answers.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. And why would it be that it is this particular time that they are coming out to, set bombs in different places in Uganda?
Like I said, other than accountability, of course, for sales and to me, I still believe that they are trying to write out a kind of a statement. They are trying to write on the wall and say we still exist, we are still here, we can still lay this kind of havoc. And when you look at whatever they are doing, they don't even seem to have an agenda. If you are fighting, you should have an agenda. Any fighter, any guerrilla war, they always have an agenda, they have a program, they have a political kind of direction. But in this case, it is a situation like maybe just someone wants to create terror. Someone wants to to create that kind of fear. And we don't know for what reason, because if you talk about politics, if you want to kill people, then who are you going to rule when you come to power? Two, is this the best way? And there are other means of talking to either government or whatever. Now, who are your targets? If you go, instead of, why don't you target a barracks? Why don't you target a security installation so that you weaken the nation, you weaken the government? But here you go to the church, where desperate people, or people who love worship, or people who believe that they want to believe in God. And if you are to target that, then what's your problem? What are you trying to look at? Are you trying to are you just a savage killer? Or maybe you have, because what I'm saying, we should read the statement. We should know that these people, maybe they are doing this because of that. But I'm telling you, security-wise, we have failed. Yes.
Let's get to the government efforts and what government has done about it. We have seen that they have detonated 6 bombs already. Should we give them credit for that, or is it that their efforts are still lacking?
Of course, even if they detonated 1, it will be a very big advantage, because if they are to detonate 6, that means that they have good information. Like I started by thanking God, because I know how sometimes we work here, that we are not as vigilant as we should be, and even security is not deeply engraved in the lives of the people. People kind of have a doubt here and there. People don't know who to talk to when there is a situation or when something has been seen. But at least we should say that if you have detonated 6 bombs, well, it is an alarm, but at the same time it is an advantage that these 6 bombs can never harm anybody. But at the same time, there is no way any of us can sleep. That is an indicator that now we are kind of having a light industry of bombs here. Someone is there to is not, I mean, someone is there manufacturing more bombs. That means that the government, if they are to do whatever they have to do, like I said, they should catch that real person. They should look for the real, possibly even the real instructors. Let you may pick so many of these boys, but someone will still get more. Someone will still go and train more. So yes, it is an advantage. Yes, we will give them a tick, but at the same time we are saying they are to do much more than this if we are to be bomb free.
Okay. How should they catch, from an experienced point of view of a private investigator, how should they catch these people? What's the criteria of catching such terrorists? Because they are also sharp. They know what to do and how to do it. So what's the best way to catch them?
The best way would be to be as free with the public, because these are human beings. They don't live in the bushes. They, of course, so here and there they may be in the jungle for training, but whatever is done around. If they go to buy explosives, explosives are manufactured from materials which are locally accessible, available here, like fertilizers. We talk about batteries. We talk about almost everything you need to design a bomb, this kind of homemade bombs, is available. It's like materials being used elsewhere for other purposes. So now, if our police would possibly understand what to look for, but I'll bring in this. Just bear with me. Sometimes you may find that even our policemen don't know what to look for. Recently, I was entering President's office just behind Parliament there. I suffered. Was it on Thursday? No, it was, I think, on Monday. Monday at around 10. The guard who was there, who was not even untagged, without a name, stopped me just because I have a beard. Just because they're terrorists and I have a beard. So I suffered because I have a beard. Now, that means that's how shallow our information is to our security. They look at a person, they may not, you may find that Chintu did not even wear a beard. They may find that Chintu was even a smart young man. So, do we look at terrorists because they have beards? Do we look at terrorists because we think they're Muslims? Do we look at, how do we describe, how do we understand? The best would be to open up and educate the public about the mind of a terrorist. Once a person is recruited, now, if you had to look at Chintu today, if our security bothered so much, we would take Chintu, before even they take him to prison, he will be a study. We'll find out how he lived his 60 days before. Most of these people, once a child or any other person is involved into terrorist activities, one of the ways you can know him is he gets withdrawn. He starts living a different life. He gets isolated because, to a certain extent, even those who are kind of training him trail him to know that he's not talking to people, maybe he will cause him trouble. So he's a slave in his own cocoon. He has been enslaved by the doctrine he has been introduced to. Meaning that even if he was a young, happy boy, playing football, going for this and the other, you find him getting restrictive. Now, that's one of the main areas where you'll get to know that maybe your son, maybe your brother, maybe your husband, maybe your friend has kind of come across an indoctrination which is dangerous, because killing and trying to kind of destroying life is not natural. So whoever takes him through all this, he has to break he has to kind of block part of his reasoning and sense by indoctrinating him into these ideas. So it affects his psychology that he gets withdrawn. You find that he ceases, even if he has been working, you'll see that he kind of slows down. If he has been loving football, he slows down. There is that kind of chemical change that goes into his blood, because deep inside him he has a battle. He's fighting about what he's getting involved into and what he has been. Now, that's the main way, that's the reason. If really we are to teach people this, then everybody will look around and find so many, all the terrorists who can easily pick them. But as long as we don't understand their psychological kind of design, and how they get affected as they are being indoctrinated and being confused and whatever. There's no way you can net terrorist. He's a normal person like me, like you. Yeah, that's why I've told you, like I was really disturbed by a young policeman. I think he's part of the presidential team, presidential guard unit of the police, for about 10 minutes, just because I have a beard. Now, meaning that even some of those who are supposed to be at the forefront of looking for terrorists don't know what they're supposed to be doing, and that's unfortunate for the nation. Yes.
Thank you so much. Now, some people are relating this to the lack of jobs of the youth. About 70% of the youth are at home seated, even those who have graduated, because universities graduate people every year. Some of these people are home seated, lacking jobs. So if these terrorists come in, some people are relating it to the fact that the terrorists come in with an offer of money and the youth are unable to refuse because they don't have any other source of money.
Yeah, but if you're talking about terrorism is a ghost of its own. There are cases of many terrorists we know abroad there who are very rich, who come from very affluent homes, who even have no luck. Besides, if you join terrorism, the first thing you have to know is you're not going to live. You will not. You have literally sold your freedom. You're not free. So, if you're talking about a situation that someone goes into terrorism just because he feels that maybe he needs money, how is he going to spend this money when he himself is a prisoner of his own conscience? So I will not look at it in that way. To me, I believe that because we have not dealt with thuggery, this common thuggery of wafere, of people who keep on con men, of people who go and grab land, so there is that kind of anger that comes with crime. If crime is allowed, people believe that they are not safe with situations. They can just enter into everything for purposes of revenge. Then they find themselves trapped. Yes. So, because now the government has to fight so hard. You have seen a situation where many people, a person or two, can go and evict a whole village. Now, these people, they may be in government, they may be in the opposition, but what is key here is these are influential people, very influential people. So there are some of I would say the majority poor, who sometimes fail to access the law, can easily start designing minds of revenge. And in the process, they can join all sorts of outfits for purposes of dealing with the pain they have internally, which the government has not been able to solve.
Yeah.
And then in the process, they can join several outfits. And you have to deal with that. That's very, very, very crucial. That people should access fairness. People should access justice. If justice is denied, you go to a policeman, he cons you. You go to a judge, same problem. You go to a magistrate, you have to buy bail. A poor person can easily turn out into anything. Yes. So it is not even about morals, not even about money, but about the way people are accessing justice, that they are very easy to be wooed to the other side.
Okay. So how should the justice system be worked on? What should change in our justice system in Uganda?
I think I'll just say it in one statement. Let the poor get justice. Let the poor get justice, because the poor are the majority. And the day they believe that this government is not giving them justice, they will easily be wooed into other areas where they may be very dangerous.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. What is a Ugandan? What if it is a Ugandan who wants to take over power and feels like maybe the current government is not doing enough, and they are trying all possible ways of how to, overthrow and take over power? Do you think, have you thought about things in that direction? What if they're the ones destabilizing the country?
Of course, I cannot completely rule that out, but at the same time, if you look at what is being done, if you go and kill people in Miracle Center, what are you achieving? You're achieving nothing, because government cannot attack government. We cannot say that government. So someone was raising at a point, I think, was it on the floor of Parliament, and said, because the government in power used to to throw bombs in the city to destabilize and things like that. That was a tactic of fighting, yes. But at the same time, you cannot say that government itself is throwing its own bombs, because what will be the essence? So, but we cannot also say, I cannot even say, so it is its opposition or here and there. What we are saying is this. We have this issue of the Eri Shababs, the terrorists. These guys, I don't know who their leader, I don't know whatever their interests may be, but I think there is that situation of trying to keep Africa with unstable. There's that situation of trying to make sure Africa is a war zone, possibly because of the minerals we have. We have a lot of minerals. Yes. That stability will kind of help us to tap out into the mineral wealth, and then we will cease to be servants. So we have to get to understand who is this person who does not want us to stop being, who does not want us to leave slavery into that kind of free, so that we become economically free. It may be as deep as that some of these wars are sponsored for purposes of making sure Africa does not settle, because we don't only have El Shabaab here. ADFs. We even have the same problem in the Sahel regions, where there are some disturbance. We have had that in Sudan. Meaning that we are kind of being ringed around, and why this area? And yet it is known, it is believed to be one of the richest areas in minerals. So it could be a bigger war than what we're looking at.
Okay.
Yeah.
What are some of the security gaps we do have as a country in our security systems, both police and the army, and maybe prisons? What are some of the security gaps that we have?
I see them doing a lot. They are doing a lot, but at the same time, we don't seem to have our own African or Ugandan security syllabus, whereby we're supposed to have our own. We're supposed to write our own books. We're supposed to create our own disciplines on security. We shouldn't say, because I've gone to America. I've had some of my colleagues here who come and say, I did this in America or Russia or Asia. They may even know nothing about African security. They may know very little about, yes, they have the gadgets. But even without gadgets, sometimes many of them were far better than them in terms of reasoning, in terms of assessing, in terms of chewing out issues, and even designing. But the problem is we have kind of sold out our own traditional design of intelligence and knowledge, and we are jumping on everything as if cameras can go and investigate and tell you everything. Yes, cameras are not bad. I will not say these are just additions. We can add to what we have to do, because there are many countries like China, which have not deeply relied on Western or maybe foreign kind of intelligence lessons, and they're doing so well. So here we believe that if someone goes to all these countries, China, India, where he comes back, he will talk about so many papers that he knows about security. But when you look at the few basic things, I'll talk about simple thuggery. In town, in Kampala here, we still even have dark spots where you cannot go at a certain stage of time. The people who are grabbing laptops and phones and taking out all this good information, it's like nobody's even following them. A simple thing like saying, one of the reasons why thugs come to your houses is because they want electronics. Now, can someone just write a small paper and say, let's design a way old electronics are resold, so that there's a very clear policy that if you are to resell anything used, it is a lengthy kind of you should prove it belongs to you. You just pick something here and you say this there. So this man will come to your house, not because he's looking for money, because for now people have learned to keep money in the banks, but because he wants your phone, he wants your laptop, he wants your TV, and can't we design something around that it becomes very complex? Let it take a week before a person has even clearance to buy a TV, so that we stop the scourge where they find reason to enter houses, very drunk with marijuana, rape children, rape wives, just because if we don't have a small brain to design that, how do we think that we can challenge terrorists? So that's a problem.
So we have weak policies?
I would say that the way we design our security is still lacking. We believe that, people here have a problem. Many of them, people just want the attention of the president. They don't work hard, I'm telling you. Yes,
Nice one.
some do, but few officers work hard. Because we wouldn't have thuggery, just simple thuggery where now robbers have even learned to move with dogs, they have learned to move with gadgets, they can come and invade a flat, stay there for 2 hours, just in the metropolitan. So what if now we cannot deal with that? What about, that's what I'm saying, it's God who keeps Uganda fully, 100%. Because if we cannot deal with that, and criminals are getting more complex, some of them even have radio calls, so if we're not safe on that small margin, what about a person we know is coming from maybe Al-Qaeda, maybe from where? We have capacity to deal with all this, but at the same time, I think people are just, many of our guys are in deals. Yes, if we don't stop deals, we are ditching this country.
Okay.
Yes.
So I want to go to how equipped government is. How ready or equipped do you think government is to take on such issues?
The government is very equipped. Yes, however, there is a budget. We have personnel. And in Uganda, people think that weapons and guns are the only means of security. If you don't have capacity to harvest information, your guns are useless. You're not going to bring artillery, you're not going to bring so many things to fight a crime. A crime is almost like a bed bag. It moves from underneath. You should get information. Should have capacity to know that a bed bag smells like this. Should have capacity to know that when you see this egg belongs to a bed bag. That's how you can deal with bed bags. But if you think that you're going to bring all the artillery, all the guns, and then surround, here we are reactionary. I say most of the time being very reactionary. Yesterday I saw a kind of a clip whereby I think there was the security was in Impondo to try and deal with the situation of scare. I think there was that kind of either bomb or something. You'd see, I saw a man trying to touch into a woman's hair, trying to touch her everywhere because he's looking for what. Now, how come that in such an area, this situation of bombs and where is not just like it has not come from heaven? It means that it has been around. The rumor has been around. Don't you have enough female army ladies and female prison officers and female whatever to deploy there, that men start checking women? Now, look at that. That is a sign of unpreparedness. Why do we do things because something has been done? Why are we just there to come with all the guns, all the vehicles, to people dressed like they are demons? But at the same time, these are things we would have done before. We can be, but we should just get that person at the time when he believes that he's now moving in to do something. We should not react with all the guns and all the vehicles at full speed with full lights, but yet when the criminal has gone. We have talked about, remember the time when police, when people started attacking policemen with the pangas on the road. Even today, they have put a guard or two to guard traffic officers. But you see, the man who is guarding has his gun here. He's looking to see if this man is getting a bribe. Now, how will a killer wait? He will come and cut all of them. Now, if the policemen and themselves are not bothered about their own their own security, even the security of the traffic officers, because a person who is guarding should be at a distance. Should be positioned in such a way that he can defend himself, but he can defend everybody. But he's moving with these policemen together to see possibly there is a chikumi they have given so that we share. Now, if we have that kind of mentality, I'm telling you, we are still far. We should really go to church and pray.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the ratio of police to its citizens is one police officer to 250 people. Can you imagine that? Is that enough security really for the country? Because I was here with the Kampala Metropolitan spokesperson, and he said the ratio of police to its citizens is 1 police officer to 250 people. So you can imagine.
I wouldn't even have a problem with the ratios. I would be much more bothered about the quality of the policeman, the quality of that officer. You know, if you have one good police officer, he will influence these 200 people to be part and parcel of his security detail.
Okay.
So you will not have a problem. You need one gun to keep Kampala if you have all the intelligence. Now, whether the ratio is 1 to 250, that's not a problem at all. Because these policemen can influence these people because they believe and trust in him, and I'm telling you, he will be a conduit of all information and security issues will be solved. So to me, the issue of ratios is not a problem, but it's the issue of quality. What type of policemen do we have? What type of... There is a matter I was handling recently in Kasana, in Nakaseke, where policemen were deployed on a farm and they started eating someone's cows. Now, if do you expect a person to cooperate with that policeman? I have even photographs. I'm not blackmailing police. You know, sometimes we try to cover up, but sometimes we get annoyed because we are parents, we are grandchildren, parents. If you're going to live a nation with this type of situation where we live a thuggery kind of life and we don't talk about it, then we're ditching our own country. What I'm talking about is one policeman, one good policeman, and who is respected and who is heard and who is loved by a population of 200 people, will keep his village safe.
Okay.
10 policemen protecting 100 people. With this type of bribery, with this type of extortions, with this type of accusing people wrongly and taking the wrong poor people to prison because the rich have paid money, that discord only will be a breeding ground for terrorism.
Okay.
And we have also talked about that. Yes.
Okay, so what is the responsibility of the public in all this? How should the public prepare or be safe?
I know the public is doing a lot. And of course, they don't want to be hit. Everybody is scared of being hit by a bomb or losing a loved one because of these terrorist activities. But at the same time, the public is at the crossroad. Who do you talk to? Who do you go to and call him in confidence and tell him, listen, I've seen ABCD. Do we have mechanisms of protecting these people so that when information is kind of comes from the people, it doesn't go around and it goes back to those to those we suspect. So there should be that kind of human, there's some kind of relationship. If a policeman has come and misbehaved, these people will look at him as a thug. Then they will not want to tell him to give it to. They would rather keep quiet about the criminal other than causing themselves to become targets of the same criminals. Yeah. So that's how people are concealing information. They're not even concealing. They're scared to go and give information to these policemen, some of whom have turned into very indisciplined officers. So my mind here is that the public is doing all the best. The public is also encouraged to do more. But in a situation where security is much more indisciplined than the public, you'll sit on the roads. All the vehicles of those soldiers, all the vehicles of those policemen with the lights, every vehicle has a right of way. That's indiscipline. Now, the day security is not disciplined, you don't expect the public to be disciplined. And you don't expect the public to respect them. You know, someone just gets a camouflage jacket of a UPDF camouflage jacket. He puts it on the back of his seat, and he drives recklessly. A policeman drives, whether he's on duty or not on duty. He drives. He keeps his the right. Their sirens are on. Every vehicle has a siren. So what is this? Now, as long as you have a system that is that disorganized, don't expect so much from the public.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Let's break off for a short break, but we will be back with issues at hand. We're still discussing matters of security and the recent terror threats that are in the country. What should be done? How should the public react to them? How should the public protect themselves? But also, how should police act? How should security organs act? How should they protect the citizens? And of course, how should they protect themselves and make sure that the country is safe? We're taking a short break. We are powered by Protea Hotel by Marriott Entebbe. Stay with us. We'll be right back shortly. You're still watching Issues at Hand, and let's start with where we had stopped. Now, are these police officers trained enough to handle the jobs that they are supposed to do, to handle the things that they are supposed to do, to protect citizens? Or is it that some of them, the nice ones, sit back in offices, and we have the ones that don't have very good intentions down in the field? I would like to start with that question to our guest today, Mr. Egesa, who is helping us dissect the security or terror alerts that have been going on around this country. My name is Carrot Mwini. You're still watching Issues at Hand. Yes, Mr. Egesa, do you think that some of these officers, the ones that are good, are left in office, and then we have the ones that maybe don't have the right qualification to be in the field, are the ones that are in the field?
Of course, it's a very wide question, because when you look at training, I would say that the 9 months or more, and then the refresher courses which are given to our police officers would literally suffice to build out a very good police officer or a very good police woman and man. Yes. So it will now be a situation of training. Yes, there are areas, I think they have been trained enough. They have the best teachers, they have the best instructors, but now it comes out, the problem may be around deployments. Because if you look at the person, there are areas, when you go to offices, policemen have very good PR. They talk very well. The officers are good. But at the same time, when you go to the field and you're mistreated, and you find that they do not care to call to order the young men, then you may be persuaded to think that the briefs to the young men and the allowing indiscipline to thrive within the forces may be sometimes intentional. Because if your child abuses me and I come to you and I report, and the child abuses me the following day, then the third day I'll not bother. I'll know who is abusing me. I know it is the parent abusing me. Yes, because yes, even in our own times, there used to be lots of officers, young men. Fields are fields. You may find several. A field is new every day. You may find challenges. You may find a policeman may be challenged to do this and the other. But how are they disciplined when there is a situation? When you take these people, when a policeman has made a mistake and PSU comes in, is it now is PSU able to pull out this indiscipline, detail the indiscipline, punish the indiscipline, recommend, or do whatever? Because we know some of the very indisciplined officers here, many of them are being promoted, and you wonder why. Because promotion should be as a result of your activity, as a result of your performance, as a result of your what the world sees, what the public sees. Now, if someone is crying about a certain DPC, maybe in a Katwe where people say the man is bad, even he slaps people, and tomorrow he has a rank, that means he's being ranked because it's because of his bad manners. Now, I think there we have to be very, very careful, because it may also be at the level, not even at the level of training, but the level of deployment, of recruitment. Who is this person who recruited this person. Was he recruited as because he's Egesa's son or Egesa's daughter so that he becomes untouchable? Or are we creating cocoons within the police? All this, if they are not dealt with, we will have a problem. Because if this is a person who has been recruited through Egesa, now Egesa is influential. That means that if you touch that person, you'll also be touching the core of Egesa. Now, if immediately government does not break that kind of recruitment design, that people come in by virtue of who brings them, then discipline will never be restored in police. And once you do not restore discipline in the police, then the public will still look at police as a force, as an unfriendly force. And once the public looks at it as an unfriendly force, there will not be information coming from base upwards. That's where now a policeman gets a problem even to manage 5 people. Yeah.
So the security organs have an issue of indiscipline.
I think UPDF is okay. ISO is okay, but police, because police is at the reception of government. Police is a person who touches the public every day, much more than any other force.
Yes.
And every indiscipline of security is seen through the police. Police is supposed to be a civilian force. It is it's our force. It is the force of the Mwananchi. Now, the day the Mwananchi is unhappy, someone finds himself in prison because the policeman did not do enough. Someone whose cows are being cut on at the farm, you come and say because Honorable so and so is involved. Now, what about that DPC? What about now? In the process, you'll find that you wouldn't see. It is very easy to call to order an army officer who is indisciplined. But I'm telling you, police mechanisms of disciplining that officer who has committed an offense within police is a bit lengthy. That at a certain stage you may completely fail to do that, because someone will say, so if you go to report to high officers, someone may ask you, say, I'm a police officer also, now it's like you are reporting us. Reporting and having done something wrong are two different things. Now, if the police is not going to work around this, I think they should really recruit so many police officers, because people don't feel them. People no longer feel the police. Thieves come in the village, they spend 3 hours, they rob and go. You come in the morning with your dogs, people will not feel you. People will wonder even why you are coming. That's why others take on to even become funny around the policemen, because they look at them like they are not real serious guys. So, if the police wants to be the police we knew or we want, let them be straight. Let them deal with the officers who embarrass them in whatever they do. I'm telling you, like, if anybody can come to me, have a situation where a policeman in uniform is, they exploded someone's cows, even he was lying on a carcass, he's holding warrant. Now, if people are going to say that, then they will never trust the police. You look at the young men. When they look at policemen, they want to fight them, just because they no longer command respect. Why do we say all this? Because, like I said, we want to live a country that is self kind of respecting. And once the police is down, crime will rise. And once crime rises, then we'll have a situation whereby it is the criminals who will take over this nation.
So, how accessible is the state? Because there must be a relationship between the people and the state, but how accessible is the state currently?
Now, the state would be very accessible, especially through RDCs. But I'm telling you, our RDCs are a very big embarrassment. They interfere with police investigations. I will not literally blame police alone. The RDCs, some of them are not trained police officers or trained security officers. Some of them are political, but they want, when they are there, and an RDC is the head of security in an area, you find that they get involved into petty deals like land.
Yeah.
They get very, very petty, like you find that they are in women, they are in religions, and in the process, that's how they are literally blackmailing the nation and the movement and the government, because they are not a representation of His Excellency. The RDCs are really a mess. Many of them are a mess. I'm telling you, if you are to detail the complaints by the state, and they are a representation of the head of state, and I'm telling you, they are just an embarrassment. Because many of them have done. If you have to look at them, I don't know who disciplines them, but I think are they under Honorable Babaranda? There should be a probe about RDCs. RDCs, some of them are good. They're guys really I respect. Like this, who is this young man in Rubaga? There are others who are good, but more especially those outside Kampala. I'm telling you, there are so many problems.
Okay.
Yes.
So we should just keep quiet about them. What should we do about the RDCs who are wrong?
Me, I believe that even it is high time we started taking them to court as persons. Yes, because you find that they interfere, they give ultra-vires orders, people's lands, people lose land. Like there is one in Paris there. They become courts of law. They become courts of law. They take draconian decisions, and they are political powers. So you cannot do so much. They can tell the police not to come and protect you. They can push the police on you. They can do some. And by the time when you look deep into what they are doing, you find that they are just because of handling deals.
But is the RDC the only way we can access the state?
Yeah, but why am I saying this? He's head of the district security committee. He literally carries the words of His Excellency. So he's a much more knowledgeable person and well placed as a political person, and to represent the mind of the president. But when you look at what the president says and what the RDCs are doing, several of them, it is just the opposite.
Interesting. So what would be the role of private investigators in the security issue that we have in Uganda right now? What would be the role of people like you?
Private investigators are supposed to be a complementary force. They're supposed to complement the police. They're supposed to complement the army. They're supposed to complement security. They are a reserve. We're supposed to be a reserve of knowledge and a reserve of wisdom to the state. It's like a tank. If you go to your house, you will find old beautiful dresses kept well in your wardrobe. Shoes for memory kept well, so that we're a resource. We're supposed to be a resource to the nation. We're supposed to be the team that traps the old brains as they go out, and these old brains are not supposed to be misused or rejected or thrown off. They're supposed to be crafted into a useful kind of outfit. If you go to several countries, many of those guys who are training, even our own police officers, are retired police officers, retired army men, and many of them are into private practice now, like private investigators. So we're supposed to be a resource. We're supposed to be that think tank who are always referred to when there's a complex situation, because we have handled cases. Like me, I think I would have handled, I don't know, over 200 murder cases. Now I'm literally a book of investigating murder. There are others, many others, but you find several of them even once you leave the force, you don't go with your rank. You don't. There is so little which you can go with, and in the process, you are just thrown away. But yet the government could have taken all the time, all the money, all the whatever to train you. You find that a man, by the time a person is a commissioner, he would have gone through so many courses. Now, all this is supposed to be turned into a school resource for purposes of training, guidance. But you have never heard of a situation where they have called private investigators maybe to discuss a security situation, because they believe, some of them think that we're too wise for them. Some of them believe that we challenge them. But we have read our books and we have practiced and we have been there. So we don't say anything because we should feel important. No, but we are grieved. When we were in authority, when we could do this and the other, we tried so much that some of the guys who are young today, we made sure that they are protected and they are safe. But they're not protecting us. They're not protecting the nation. We can see the nation deteriorating. We can see thuggery and crime taking over the nation. And we cannot allow this. Yeah.
Thank you. So how should people like this young man, Chintu, be treated once they, arrest him? How should he be treated? maybe he is working with a number of other people. Should they try to, ask him about that? Or how should he be treated as a person who had planted a bomb?
But of course, into being a suspect, he has his rights. He should be treated professionally. When I talk about being treated professionally, it should be handled by mature people, so that we get to the core. So that they get to the core and understand him. They can use his experience as a way of helping other young men not to join this outfit. He should be treated well. Two wrongs can never bring out a right. Besides, we should understand how people sometimes get involved into this type of activity. Others, for your information, you'll be surprised to note that others are coerced into going into such situations. Yes, I know of a case where I think a certain girl was forced to join a certain banditry team because what they did is they kidnapped her child they kidnapped and separated her from her child. So in the process, they would say, if you don't do this, we are killing the child. We're doing this, we're doing this. So you have to literally open up your mind and she should not be interrogated by these young men because for them, some of them, what they will understand is beat him, do this to him, do this to him. No, it should be handled maturely, because this is a problem we are living with, have lived with for so many years, and we should find solutions, not American solutions, not Chinese solutions, but Ugandan solutions.
Okay.
Yeah.
Your last words as we wrap up the show, security-wise.
Yeah, of course, we say that the public has to try. We cannot say that every policeman or every man is a bad person. No, you can identify those good officers, and in case there's a situation, you raise it with them and try to see if something can be done. Because if we are to keep quiet, still it's the same problem.
Okay.
But talking, at least you'll be vindicated. You feel that I've talked. If someone has not taken any whatever, then there's no problem. And of course, the police also has to try so much to find out why is there discord between them and the public. Instead of running away from us, sometimes there are times when I want to meet some of them in the studios and they don't meet me. Yes, because I don't know why. But I've even said they should, I always want to have an open discussion with them. But they don't allow. They'll keep their space
running away.
Because possibly they believe that we will challenge. We are not there to challenge them. We are there to help them learn, because we know that they are not islands, and neither are we. Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much. That was Mr. Egesa telling us about security and how exactly we should handle ourselves, but also how security organs should handle themselves, especially the police, that is directly related to the civilians. And of course, one thing I've taken away is that promotion of these police officers should be on merit and not because someone, maybe somebody's son, or maybe they studied in this school and stuff like that. They should get promotion on merit and because they are good officers. And that is exactly how we will gain a Uganda that is free of such terror alerts or such terror threats that have been happening around the country. My name is Karen Wamanis. Thank you so much for being a part of Issues at Hand. We'll be here tomorrow. Thank you so much, and have a good day.